Welcome to an overview of St. Louis area movie theaters from 1920 to 1929. 1920. The Bridge Theater opens on April 20th. The Del Monte Theater opens on September 4th. The Missouri Theater is opened by famous players on November 7th. The Grand Theater in Alton, Illinois is opened by Balaban and Katz Great States Theaters on December 20th. The Wellston Theater is open. The Ozark Theater in Webster Groves opens. The OG Theater in Edwardsville, Illinois opens. The Crystal Skydome became the Pageant Skydome. The new Criterion Theater became the Criterion Theater. Lowe's sells the Garrick to new owners. The Airdome Theater in Belleville, Illinois closes. 1921. St. Louis Amusements Company takes over these theaters from Skouras on November 7th. St. Louis Amusement Company took over these theaters from Koppler on November 15th. The Capitol Theater opens on April 14th. The Lincoln Theater in Belleville, Illinois opens on October 6th. The Colony Theater in East St. Louis, Illinois opens. The New Movie Theater opens. The Watauga Theater in Alton, Illinois became the Gem Theater. These theaters closed in 1921. 1922. The Aubert Theater opens in April. The Royal Theater reopens as the Rivoli Theater on November 19th. The High Point Theater opens. The Broadway, Manchester, and Star Theaters opens in 1922. The Del Mar Theater closes. 1923. The Grand Theater opens. The Washington Theater in Granite City, Illinois is opened by St. Louis Amusements. The Liberty Theater closes. 1924. The Tivoli Theater in University City opens on May 10th. The Lowe's State opens on August 21st. The Kingsland Theater opens on October 22nd. The West End Rex Theater in Belleville, Illinois is opened by Noah Bloomer on October 30th. Warenberg Theaters opens the Michigan Theater on December 25th. The Arcade Airdome opens. The Old Del Mar Theater reopens as the Embassy Theater. The Kirkwood Theater in Kirkwood opens. The Columbia Theater in East St. Louis, Illinois. The Juniata Theater became the Ritz Theater. (1925) Balaban and Katz manages Famous Players Theaters. The St. Louis Theater is opened by St. Louis Amusement as America's most beautiful theater with 2,881 seats on November 25th. The Alamo Theater in Lebanon opens. These theaters also opened or placed its first ads in 1925. 1926. The Southampton Theater opens on February 27th. The Palm Theater opens on May 15th. The Ambassador is opened by Skouras Theaters as the showplace of the world on August 26th. The Baden Theater opens. The Cinderella Theater is opened by Warenberg Theaters. The Columbia Theater opens. The Maplewood Theater in Maplewood is opened by Warenberg Theater. The Gem Theater in St. John opens. These theaters also opened in 1926. The Embassy Theater is renamed the Uptown Theater. These theaters closed in 1926. 1927. The Granada Theater opens on October 1st. These theaters also opened in 1927. These theaters are renamed in 1927. These theaters closed in 1927. (1928) Warner Brothers buys out Skouras chain November 8th. The Robin Theater opens in February. Balaban and Katz opens the Majestic Theater in East St. Louis, Illinois in February. The Washington Theater in East St. Louis, Illinois opens on April 8th. The Midtown Theater is opened by the Skouras Warner Brothers partnership on November 11th. The Gem Theater opens. These theaters closed in 1928. 1929. The Fox Theater opens on January 31st with 5,037 seats, the state's largest theater built at the cost of $6 million. The Midway Theater in Belleville, Illinois is opened on November 23rd. These theaters also opened in 1929. The Lyric Theater in East St. Louis, Illinois is renamed the Orpheum Theater under Balaban and Katz management. These theaters closed in 1929. Thanks for watching and like and subscribe for more.